Today, I'll show you how to make this hair accessory with freshwater pearls. First, you'll learn a very simple way of decorating a headband base and how to make a vine with pearls. And finally, you'll see how to attach the vine to a headband. Let's start by decorating the two bands of the headband with some rhinestone cup chain. I'm using this 3mm wide chain. If you want, you can use a wider one instead. Cut about 2 meters of 28 gauge wire. Wrap one end of the wire around the headband base several times. Cut the excess wire off with your side cutters and press the end down with some chain nose pliers, making sure there are no sharp edges. Now position the rhinestone cup chain on the headband and start wrapping the wire between each cup on the chain. Make sure it's wrapped around the headband tightly. Continue doing this until you reach the other end. Cut the chain. Using the same piece of wire, move on to decorating the other band with the same rhinestone chain. Continue doing this until your chains meet up at the other end. Cut the extra chain off. Wrap the wire end around the headband several times and snip off any excess wire. Now that the bands are decorated, we can move on to making the hair vine with freshwater pearls. Freshwater pearls naturally vary in size and shape. The ones I'm using are approximately 4 to 5 millimeters long and 3 millimeters wide. Use a 26 gauge wire to make the vine. Start making it by threading some pearls onto the wire whilst it's still connected to the spool. Since this was the first time I was making this headband, I had to estimate how many beads I would need for the vine. I decided to add 70 beads onto it. It didn't end up being enough and I had to add 5 more beads at the end. Measure 60 centimeters from the beginning of the wire and bend it there. The shorter piece of wire will form the stem of the vine, and the wire that's connected to the spool will be used to form the offshoots. Bring your first bead down to where you bent it, and turn it around, forming about 1 centimeter of twisted wire. Now bring the second bead down the wire, leaving enough space for about half a centimeter of twisted wire. Twist the wires until you have half a centimeter of it before the next offshoot for the other side of the vine. Keep repeating this process. I wasn't sure how long I needed the vine to be, but I didn't want to end up with one that's too long. So initially, I made a vine that was about 37 centimeters long. You can always add more pearls later and make the vine longer. Now let's attach the vine to the headband. Cut about 2 meters of 28 gauge wire. Bend the wire in half to find the middle of it. Place the middle of the wire on one end of the headband and wrap it around it a few times. Position the beginning of the vine on the headband base. Take one end of the wire and wrap it around the vine and the base to secure them together. Take the other wire end and do the same. Measure about 4 centimeters from the beginning of the chain and place the vine there. This is your next connection point for the vine and the headband base. Keep moving along the cup chain, wrapping the wire between the cups and the base until you have reached the connection point. Secure the vine in place by wrapping the wire around it and the base. Then take the vine to the opposite side of the band to form a zigzag pattern with it. Now take the other wire end and start wrapping it along the base until you reach the connection point on the band. Secure the vine about 5.5 centimeters away from the beginning of this chain decoration. Once that's secured, take the vine on the other side and continue the pattern. I secured it in place about 3.5 centimeters away from the last one. You can change the look of the headband by making the zigzag pattern wider or closer together. Keep alternating the sides all along the headband until you reach the other end. To keep the design balanced, the last connection point for the vine should be the same distance away on both ends. So about 4 centimeters away from the end of the rhinestone decoration. The vine I initially made wasn't long enough for me to finish the decorations, so I ended up adding some extra pearl offshoots to it. I used 75 beads in total to make the vine long enough for this headband. Once you get to the end, wrap each wire around the base several times and cut the ends off with your side cutters. Make sure you press the ends down so none of the wire ends are poking out and feeling scratchy. Use your fingers to adjust the position of the vine. Here's how the finished freshwater pearl headband looks like. I've got a lot of other hair accessory tutorials available on my channel if you're looking for some inspiration. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.